Menticide is the killing of the mind. This piece is entitled, I've Known Children. I've known children whose lives were over at 3. Menticide set in like bricks and mortar built high, one incident on another, whose listless eyes refuse to reflect light or love or joy on a regular basis, whose eyes are unable to sustain anything more than all-fooled fear. I've known children whose lives were filled with workers, working out their soul's salvation on children unprotected and defenseless. Workers with personal problems they ran to work to forget. Workers so anxious or burdened and angered, reeling in the immensity of their job. They couldn't hear the children. They couldn't see the children. They couldn't stand the children they helped. Couldn't touch the living ones, didn't know which ones were dead, and bribed the cute dying ones to do tricks. I'll give you this pen if you sit quiet. I've known children who prayed in the dark just to simply survive the next 4-day fast, the next vicious beating, the next time daddy decides to lay in my bed. Children pass pats on the back and encouraging cliches, children in the hand of an angry God. I've known children we should fear will grow older and will pay the wages we have earned in our neglect. They will laugh in our hour and will mock the doom they do and take pleasure in the terror that they bring. They will reign, these children, and establish their will because we have taught them so well.
The enemy is complacency. Nothing was ever gained by people who were happy with their current situation. Nothing was ever gained by people who sat on their asses. It might take an explosion to spark the masses. Stations won't play what makes the radio active. Years have passed since we practiced the drum. Communication, then, must be straightforward, simple. Nothing was gained from misunderstanding but more of the same. Nothing can be accomplished if common soldiers play conniving games. Fight for a common understanding. Fight for your right to communicate. Everything on the planet tells us to separate. Individuality is the only common thread. The fabric of our existence, therefore, weak. Fight for your right to peacefully assemble. Fight for your right to unify. Nothing is gained when niggers use the word nigger to describe other niggers, to call other niggers, even to say, I love you, nigger. Nothing is gained by individuality without the context of a group. Nothing can be done by an individual without a group. Don't you realize 1 equals 0? It would take a week to weave our weak fabric into one common welcome mat, consisting of more than one common thread. Too bad. We have to be ready yesterday. For every minute we delay debating, we lose another hour that coulda, woulda, shoulda been spent preparing for these last days. And time? Short. Shorter than Keebler elves. Shorter than the well-spent black dollar. Shorter than our opinions of ourselves. Fight against the changing times. Fight, but don't fight in vain. Choose your fight well or die in disdain. Movement with the current is easy. Movement against the grain is a challenge. Challenge yourself, but not for challenge's sake. Choose your direction, then navigate the current. Currently, currency is the source of separation. Divide and conquer. Currently, the free-thinking mind is in danger of extinction, eradication, elimination. No conspiracy theory. You see what you want to see. See the truth before your mental is no longer able. Before your mental is no longer able to think freely. Fight for your brain cells, the only matter that really matters. You spent this long cultivating what you are. In spite of that, think. Fight for your right to think. Fight for your right to party. Fight for your right to form a party. Fight for your life, for your livelihood, for your lifestyle, for the rest of your lifetime. Fight for your family, for your land, for the free use of your right and left hand. Fight for positive energy, for food, clothing, shelter, for a common cause. Get together and fight. For free speech, for choice of religion, for choosing no religion. Fight. Don't wait for the breaking of the fifth seal. Fight for the Fifth Amendment protection, for the fifth element, for the right to listen to the fifth dimension. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. I could use a fifth of scotch. Fight. Fight against temptation of fornication, distortion, escapism, domination, damnation, and fighting inflation by taking.
Hello, my name is Keith Harris. I've been writing poetry for ever since third grade, third or fourth, right? Actually, it was third. And I've been writing, just to keep myself sane, And it's all good. And, I like poetry. It's something that's one of my first loves in life. So I'm gonna do a poem right here that's entitled, has no title, but I'm gonna break it down. It's about black women and their sexual exploitation of black women. All right, so I'm gonna switch my poem. You wanna stand up? Right. Got it? Beauty was the shroud of her physical self. Her attractiveness was unproductive wealth. Men struck her soul with their arrow lust eyes. Men burned their loins to get between her thighs. Off her godlike ebony body, her clothes they tore. To a male-dominated society, she was considered a whore. They raped her dignity, impregnating her psychological womb, sealing her self-worth in a suppressive tomb. Black is beautiful. Africa is the sun. Hopelessness murders hope with a smoking gun. A lantern broke under the stillness of the moon. Night wind blew through the trees, creating a natural tune. She was more than just pleasure flesh. She was more than sex and in a tight-fitting dress. She is a flaming beauty with no parallel. Truth is hotter than all the fiery pits of hell. Beauty was the shroud of her physical self. Her attractiveness was the unproductive wealth. Men struck her soul with their arrow lust eyes. Men burned in their loins to get between her thighs. Howling is the winds of my psyche. Barren is the terrain of my hearts. Bleak and black is the sky of my soul. The fabric of reality is torn apart. Time is the withered kiss of death. Sweet smelling is the shadow's breath. Scenes of shattered silence hunt us all. Who are the millions behind a racist wall? The pain-filled eyes of a little black boy struck me deep like a shovel into muddy earth. The reality of contemporary American society slaps a dehumanizing price tag upon his work. America builds more prisons for when he gets older. Less jobs, less hope. The ghetto becomes colder. A racist infrastructure is placed on a tired shoulder. Religion scoops out his brains and makes his head a propaganda holder. Ministers shout within churches for equality and peace. Only when words become action will the enslavement cease. I remember the young black protesters in the 60s, savagely beaten by police. Death sometimes is inevitable when you stand so human rights can increase. A sorrowful song of a degraded African slave told countless colored people to follow the North Star. Upon the essence of Black America, the institution of slavery has left a disfiguring scar. Respect the names of the true soldiers of humanity. They sacrificed their lives for an unseen seed that was watered by the divine tears of angels to grow beautifully within hideous civilizations of selfishness and greed. Howling is the wind of my psyche. Barren is the terrain of my heart. Bleak and black is the sky of my soul. The fabric of reality is torn apart. This poem I did is for Martin Luther King. I wrote it for like a dedication to Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. For those are my heroes, you know. And you know, I think they were very great brothers, you know, and very true. So let me break it down like this. They were brave and bold. Of their destiny, they took a hold. Against racism, they wouldn't fold. They continued down the battered road. Heroes of a turbulent earth, the descendants of noble birth. Diamonds could not match their worth. Their lives are an inspiration. Motivation helped them change a nation. Products of a divine creation, models of leadership, application. But their dreams and aspirations remain an oasis for those who are young, gifted, and going places. Martin Luther King had a forgiving heart. He and the Freedom Marchers ripped segregation apart. When the marchers were physically attacked, hatred and animosity were held back. Dr. King kept them on a peaceful track. Love made up for what they lacked. Dedication and perseverance were his shield and sword. On the wings of truth, he passionately soared. On the balcony, Martin was assassinated by a man who was racially motivated. The peaceful struggle he cultivated, killed by the hate ignorance created. But his dreams and aspirations remain an oasis for those who are young, gifted, and going places. Malcolm X was boisterous and loud. He told us to be black and proud. He didn't speak to put on a show. He wanted to help our mentality grow. He fought against dehumanizing places, stripped the smile off sinister faces. Malcolm X triumphantly seized the times and spoke of America's heinous crimes. Brother against brother was Malcolm's dread. Unite is what he said so that we can progress ahead. Malcolm X planted a benevolent seed. On this harvest we shall mentally feed. Gone from this accursed place, his name's etched in time and space. At the Audubon Ballroom, Malcolm X was shot dead. Assassin's bullets turned his black suit red. But his dreams and aspirations remain an oasis for those who are young, gifted, and going places.
That was very good. I like that. Hey. Well, I think that's a great piece to end on. That was a very good piece. We've had a very good night tonight.
Yeah.
Give yourself a hand. I mean, we had a good night tonight. All right. We had some young brothers in the house that spoke very well. We had some young sisters in the house that spoke very well. We had some white folks that spoke very well. Boy, we had a good time tonight. So with that, we're going to close. And like I said before, we will not do poetry next month, which is August. But we will start the fall season in September.